Hello, this is Allison with the Hiddenite Arts and Heritage Center, and this month in January and February, we are so privileged to have with us our feature artist, Theresa McDanel from Hickory, and she has incredible work here, and we're going to talk to her a little bit about her life as an artist and her work. So tell us, what's the first piece you ever did?
Of course, it was a horse.
Of course.
Of course. And that's not intentional. Growing up on a farm down the road on Cheatham Road, we had horses, all the farm animals you could think of, and I found out I loved to sketch, so that's what I started doing, and gradually picked up oil painting, and I did pet portraits for family, for neighbors, friends, and started getting more into it. Just was not a lot of opportunity at that time, but I did take local artist classes and eventually found my way to acrylics, which I love, and the bright colors are wonderful, and again, the horses pop out much more. And I have also progressed to a newer phase of cyanotype, which you'll see examples of shortly.
Okay, so we've moved to another area of the gallery, which shows another section of Theresa's talent. So she's going to tell you about her work with cyanotypes. Did I say that right?
Correct, yes. Okay, cyanotype was a type of photography that actually kind of started before the actual cameras and everything, and it's basically sun photography. You paint your developer on a like watercolor paper, something that could handle that, because you'd still do the traditional rinsing and all of that type of the process. And there are two types. There's dry cyanotype, which is just done, you let the developer dry on your paper, put it out in the sun, clamped down on a board and glass, and you leave it depending on how bright the sun is, direct the sun is. And it does form. You can use botanicals from your yard. You can use feathers. And this one is just a dry cyanotype that you just lay your botanicals down on and set it out in the sun. And it does this beautiful indigo color. This one is called wet cyanotype, where you re-wet the developer once it's dried. You re-wet it with vinegar, diluted vinegar, and you can use salt and different natural, like turmeric, things like that. And you, again, put your leaves and whatever you've collected, feathers, and you can develop it a certain length of time, and it just turns out into these gorgeous pictures, which you never know what you're going to get.
So the wet process allows you to go back to the surface again and again.
Again, and you can add layers once it dries. You can bleach out certain areas. If you want to change the color of, say, a leaf, you can even paint over it with a little watercolor. You can just make it your own. But the element of surprise is just what caught me.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So in this gallery, which is actually one of my favorites. I love her landscape work.
Thank you.
And so she does take her inspiration from different subject matter. So I'm going to let her tell you about these landscapes.
Well, I have, I guess, learned and like to do local things in our area. Hiking can bring you a lot of wonderful photographs, or you can also do plein air painting, where you just paint outside. I've done a little bit of that. But for example, this painting is done in gouache, which is a more opaque watercolor. Right. It was a photograph I took coming down the Moses Cone trail from Moses Cone up in Boone. And it was just such a bright, beautiful day, and these colors just popped out, and this was totally in the shade. Wow. And I just thought the contrast was lovely. And then this painting here, we were in just the beautiful lake and the trees and just the openness, which is just crystal clear, beautiful water, and just loved the area so much I had to do a painting from that.
Now, did you use palette knife on any of this?
I did on the trees.
Okay.
Because they were ash and some were birch, but they did have the little, as you can see here, that's definitely palette knife. The leaves, I kind of did the tips off of the end of a small palette knife. And then there's, of course, the brushwork.
Lovely. Another feature, another local place. I'm going to let Theresa tell you about that.
This was done from a photograph that I had taken when we were at Murray's Mill off of Highway 10 at one point, and I just loved this view because it's behind the mill, walking down the side road to the back of the area, and this tree was just looped over this area and just was such a pretty framed, colorful with the, vegetation and just the deepness of the darkness of the woods here, and it was shaded by this big, unique looking branch, and this is one of my favorites.
I love the textural quality of your painted surfaces.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And in college, I remember a class, and our professor would say, use more paint, use more paint. And so I love your application that you use plenty of paint.
Yes, don't be stingy with paint.
Right.
That a tube shouldn't last you 10 years.
Correct.
Use it and make it smooth, rough looking, whatever you want. And it just gives you a little more depth to your painting.